everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and this is Mixed Media Monday. Thanks for joining me today. For those of you who have been following me, thank you so much. And for anybody who's new to my channel, I hope you'll subscribe and come back often. On Mixed Media Monday, I show whatever I'm working with on a mixed media project. And first off, I'm going to apologize for not being here on Friday. Last week kind of got interrupted from about Wednesday on, and nothing went as planned from that day forward. So I'm going to show you today what I had planned on showing you on Friday. I'm back with working in my journal from PinkOddBird, April's monthly challenge, and to make a throwback junk journal, which means we are making junk journals strictly from our junk. So about week 2 or 3, week 2 I think, April added paints to her envelope, or to her journal pages, becoming more of an art junk journal, and I wasn't sure that's where I wanted to go, and we didn't have to. It was just something she gave us an option of playing with. So what I did was I decided that since I had all of these big business envelopes from junk mail, what I wanted to do was I wanted to add some color. So I got out my Tattered Angels sprays, and here I have golden bronze, and I thought it was going to be more of an orange, so I'm going to come back to that orange in a minute, but I was using golden bronze, golden morning, antique brown, golden leaves from Tattered Angels, and then I had added in yellow citron, which is a homemade mist using spring water and acrylic paints. And I still wanted an orange in there, so I went back today and I made one with pure orange. And I thought I'd like to have a purple. So what I'm going to do first is show you how you can make your own mists using your acrylic paints. Now I suggest using bottled spring water for this. Too many of your city waters or softened waters have other chemicals in them that could affect how your paint comes out in your coloring and your drying time. The other thing is, if you use a bottled purified water contains more salt than acrylic paint does. So I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to work with Folk Art Metallic Amethyst so I can keep a little bit of that sparkle. Now my paints are really old, and I should have shaken this up before we started, but you'll need an acrylic paint, spring water, and I'm using BBs. These act like those little balls in the bottom of your spray paint cans that keep everything mixed up, and a mister bottle. You can get these at Dollar Tree, Walmart. I ordered mine by the case at Amazon when I was looking to start this. Now we're going to see how well this is mixed up. And so that it goes into the top of the bottle better, I like to go ahead and just, and I'm going to wind up with purple paint everywhere, or I don't want it later. I like to just pop open the cap and use the small opening. And I'm going to squirt in quite a bit of paint down there in the bottom. I'm going to tilt the bottle here so you can see how much paint I'm actually putting in. You're going to fill this about a third of the way. And this bottle may not have a whole bunch in it, so we're going to see what we can get out. You can see I've got about a third of the bottle in there. And we're going to drop in 3 little BBs, 3 or 4 little BBs. Now the BBs will not affect your color. I put them in paint when I first did this trick a couple of years ago, and I tested them. And then you're going to fill the rest of your bottle up just to the neck, because you want to have room for your paint to mix up and move around. Now I have also found that these mister bottles, that the wands are just a little bit too long. So I usually cut off about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, because you still want to reach down into the bottom of the bottle. And then just give this a good shake. And you can hear those, you might be able to hear those beads in there mixing around. And I'll do it over here so you're not have to watch it shake and drive you crazy. And then I'm going to test it on a piece of scratch paper. And this is just a lot of my double-sided scrap. And I'm going to put a page over here to kind of cover up my overspray. And I'm just going to test it on here and see what we get. And it may take it a little bit. Primer that squishy. There you go. And look at the intensity of that color. Now you can add the rubbing alcohol as opposed to the waters, and you'll get a faster dry on your mist. And that will work too. Okay. So now you know how to make up your own spray mist. And like I said, just replace the spring water with about a 91% isopropyl alcohol. Now my main thing was I wanted some of the outside of the envelope covered, but I didn't want to get this done. So I went back to my pieces of paper, my junk pieces, and I just tore out pieces that would just cover the window, and then I just misted around them. Now in doing this, what I did was, a couple of things have changed since this last video, is I still left this fold out as my center. I added a narrower window envelope next, and you can see I've sprayed this one. And then remember I had the One Spirit catalog, and what I wound up doing was taking it down and breaking it into 2 pages at a time, gluing those 2 pages together, and then turning them into a section of the signature all their own. And I wound up with 4 or 5 new signatures. There's the envelope, and I chose to leave this envelope the way it was because I wanted the book covers and this stuff on the back. I just colored the junk mail business envelopes, and there's another one of those 2 pages glued together. Another one of my scrap pages. There's another one of the envelopes. I did all of the back here. Because this is a light enough tone, I can still write over it with a perma pen. These pages, this was for the paper pumpkin flyer. Haven't decided what I'm doing with it yet. And then this one, a little bit larger junk envelope. Another of that. Then this one's got more bluish greens. So I kind of shifted the colors around a little bit. Another one of the narrow envelopes. The last of the 2 pages glued together from the One Note, or One Spirit junk mail. And then my inside cover. And that takes care of 1 signature. And there it is. I was going to say, I had that here somewhere. So what I'm going to do next is we'll open this one up. Let's start with this one. I know that I want to miss this, and I want to make sure I've got other stuff covered. This is a little bit odd for us to do because I've got, I'm working on my ironing board today. I say I like this one. Let's see, is this one not going to quite be big enough? The other thing is if your paper does slide when you mist, this cellophane will wipe off with a baby wipe, so you're okay there. I just try to go with trying to cover as much of it as I could. And all I do is just kind of get an idea of where I need my paper to be. Nothing fancy, didn't measure it, just, didn't, get a ruler to it. Just give me an idea of where I need to go to make sure I'm covering that window. Just like that. And I just laid that over there, and let's start with that bronze. This is the Golden Morning from Tattered Angels, and just this Golden Morning has a real soft gold mist to it. There's almost no color to it at all. Here is the Golden Leaves. And I've got my whole end of my table here covered with this tablecloth. Oh, and that one came out a little bit watery. I may have to tone that one back a little bit. Let's see here. And if you find that your tips clog, take this off your bottle, drop it in a bowl with some rubbing alcohol in it, and it will clean it out. Not a problem. And I'm going to stick that down in there and wipe that cap out. It just came out when I was giving it a shake, I think. And let's add a little bit of orange to this one. Though I do like that green and that purple together. That turned out really pretty. And then we just lift this off, and lay this aside to dry. Now I've got a little bit more coloring here, but that'll probably get covered up with something that I add to the page. Now I'm going to lay this one over here to dry. I will say that using the ink or using the paints does take it longer to dry than if you use the alcohol mist. Because, you know, the alcohol evaporates just leaving your color behind, whereas your watered down paints will leave a little bit more moisture. I'm going to make sure I had a dry paper towel to dry this down, because next thing we're going to do is we're going to open this one up and reconfigure this, and I'll show you how I did those one sheet pages. And see, this I will lay papers over, mist this around like that yellow. This one will get taken apart and misted. This is the book I want to get out. This is those one sheet pages, and I'm just going to take out the staple here. And throw those away before they wind up in my carpet and in my cat or dog's feet. And my glue. And I'm probably going to wish I'd have gotten another bottle of glue, but we'll work this one as long as we can. And what I did was I just separated every 2 pages and left them as a pair. 2. I hope everybody's doing okay with this sheltering in place thing. We're doing okay, but as a writer, I'm used to not going much of anywhere, so that works for me. And I want to leave, let's cover up the politics thing. So I'm going to run my glue, and I don't know how much of this is in frame. Probably not the whole sheet, but you can get the idea here. There we go. And then I just scribble this across, because it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to glue your pages together. And there's one, and we'll do the same thing all the way across. The thing is to determine when you're doing this, know what page you want on your top and which page you don't want to bury. Now everybody uses different glues for different things. Primarily when I'm working with paper, I use the Tombow liquid glue. I get it from Stampin' Up! At my discount, but I've been known to order a case of it off of Amazon, or to pick up a couple of bottles when they're on sale at Michael's. Hobby Lobby does not sell the mono, but Michael's does. And it's my paper glue of choice. Everybody has one different. The idea is to just play with your glues and see which ones work the best for you. I like the white liquid mono for 2 reasons mainly. Number 1, it dries relatively fast. And you don't have to put it clean to the edge, because it has a smooshing sensation that when you press your pages together, it'll smoosh out. I hit the paper clip. It will smoosh out to the edges on its own. So you don't have to make sure you're at the very edge of your paper for it to stick. For sole purpose, yeah, let's go with that. Let's put her on top. And I'm trying desperately. And you've got just a couple of seconds of wiggle room with this white glue, and then you're done. So you kind of have to make sure that you need just a little bit of wiggle room before you put the whole thing down, because that couple of seconds is about all you're going to have. I've tried the clear aqua glue that I'm a Cool Mom uses, and Julie has taken to using it. My sister uses it. It's a little too slick and runny for my choice. but I have some here that I will use in a pinch. Or if I know that I'm going to need room to slide stuff a little bit more. I'm going to need a little bit more movability time. Okay, so then these will get worked back in. So as I make sure I have no glue sticking anywhere, then we will put these back in here. And I had to change where I was putting these a little bit because now instead of one big book in one spot, I've got 4 little signatures to put somewhere. So I'm having to work with that. I really don't want one in there, but that other envelope we used is going to go in here too. So I may put it here. There's the envelope for that. Well, we're there already. Okay, so we got to figure out there. Let's put one of these here. There's that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. I think that's about my, there we go. Let's put that one in here. Okay. So there's one signature, another signature worked out, and then here we go. I'm going to take and lay this down here so it won't spray on anything. I've got pieces here that I've been cutting out and I've used. I need a long piece here. That one goes there. Slightly longer one here. And so they'll bend a little bit. I'm going to flip them over. There we go. And I don't want any down here on this, so I'm going to cover this with a piece of the scratch paper, so I don't get any down here on this part of the envelope. Let's give this one a little bit more orange and purple, shall we? Now these ones with the paper, with the water, are going to take a little bit longer to dry. They also tend to curl up your matte papers a little faster. And then I'm going to come back in here with that green that I really like. And that golden morning. Okay. Lift these off. Then I will go through and I will do all the rest of the envelopes like this. When they're all dry, then I'll put those signatures back together and I'll move on to my last 2 signatures for this group. Okay, today is all about filming videos, so I am going to film Friday's video later today. Friday's video is going to be my, hopefully, mostly finished journal from Julie's March Spring Buster Stash. Let's try this again. March Spring Stash Buster Junk Journal Challenge. I have changed what I'm going to do, and it's a good thing that I have not started. But since I only have a week left to put this journal together, it's going to be a good plan to have the change in my design that I'm going to have. So that's what I'm going to be working on while this video uploads, and you will see it this morning on Monday morning. So I hope everybody stays safe, stay hunkered in. Don't worry about going anywhere. Take the time to enjoy your family. Curl up with a good book. Catch up on the movies you've been meaning to watch. That kind of thing. This doesn't have to be a stressful time. Just remember to breathe. And I'm sending you creative blessings. Bye-bye.